Hey, keep your hands where I can see them. What's going on? What's your name, my man?
Adam Montgomery, he maintains his innocence, but will soon face the realization that the cover-up and concealment of his daughter's death cannot be erased by silence. This is a true crime where Harmony Montgomery is reported missing nearly 2 years after investigators believed her dead, and where every clue leads to the same question: what happened after the accident that no one is allowed to know?
What's wrong? I'm just gonna pat you down, make sure you don't have any weapons. Put your hands on top of your head, okay? On top of your head.
Adam severely injured his daughter after a car accident. When things spiraled out of control, the child did not survive. He then relocated the remains to various locations to conceal what had happened. Harmony was officially reported missing in November 2021, nearly 2 years after investigators believed she was no longer alive. As both sides prepare for trial, a new courtroom filing appears. Adam's defense attorneys ask that several major pieces of evidence be kept from the jury. They claim prosecutors intend to introduce highly damaging material, including allegations that Adam purchased 40 pounds of pelletized limestone, another 40-pound bag of lime, a power grinder, a metal-cutting diamond blade, and a lithium-ion battery and charger, with the stated purpose being concealment of Harmony's remains. In a state filing responding to the defense motion, prosecutors say the evidence supports their case. The document states that Adam's estranged wife, Kayla Montgomery, told officers he purchased lime because he believed it would help accelerate decomposition and reduce the chance her remains would be discovered. The defense request itself signals how damaging this evidence could be. Prosecutors argue that intent can be inferred not from a single purchase, but from repetition, quantity, and timing. The documents say investigators later obtained bank records from a shared account belonging to Adam and Kayla. According to the records, in February 2020, there was a cash withdrawal from an ATM located directly across from the Home Depot where Adam worked. Authorities say one cash purchase of lime occurred on February 15, 2020, and another occurred on February 26, 2020. Prosecutors state that on February 27th, a work order was submitted for Adam's apartment to have the bathtub drain snaked. Additional court documents state officers learned Adam removed the remains between March 3rd and March 4th. Authorities also say that in March 2023, Kayla was able to match the bag used to conceal Harmony's body to purchases Adam allegedly made at Home Depot back in 2020. Ahead of trial, Adam's lawyers challenge Kayla's credibility and argue she minimized her own involvement in the disposal of Harmony's remains. The defense claims Kayla actively assisted and knew the saw blade, grinder, or battery were not used. They seek to prevent any mention of the lime blade and grinder from being presented to the jury. The defense strategy does not deny Harmony is gone. It reframes responsibility. By shifting focus onto Kayla's credibility, the defense attempts to weaken the narrative of sole intent while limiting what the jury is allowed to hear. Kayla previously testified as a state witness in Adam's 2023 weapons trial under a plea agreement.
Where do you currently reside?
The state prison for women.
And how long have you lived there?
Since November 2022.
Why do you live in the women's prison?
Perjury charges.
Were you convicted of those charges?
Yes.
And sentenced for those charges?
Yes.
Were you also charged with receiving stolen property?
Yes.
And those charges were dismissed as part of a... Were those
Yes.
charges dismissed as part of a plea agreement?
Yes.
And you admitted to lying to the grand jury?
Yes.
Did you admit... Apologies. Did you admit to lying to the grand jury?
Yes.
Do you understand the consequences of providing false testimony here today?
Yes.
She confirmed she has been incarcerated since November 2022 due to perjury charges and acknowledged lying to a grand jury. She also confirmed prior charges for receiving stolen property were dismissed as part of the agreement. Her testimony carries inherent risk for both sides. Prosecutors acknowledge her past dishonesty while arguing that corroborating records and timelines reduce reliance on her word alone. According to records, the aforementioned allegations stem from a separate incident in 2019 when Adam was allegedly involved in the illegal appropriation and transfer of several weapons. At the same time, she also spoke about the context of family life before Harmony's death.
So focusing back on that time period, September, October 2019, what was your life like back then?
I was working up until November 2019 at Dunkin' Donuts. I would work 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Adam would be home with the kids while I'm at work, and he would drop me off and pick me up from work because I didn't have a license. And then after he would pick me up, I would be at the house with the kids, and he would leave some nights because we were using drugs.
When you say we were using drugs, what do you mean?
Like getting high, using heroin and crack and weed.
And when you say we were getting high and using heroin and crack and weed, who's we?
Adam and I.
And what was your drug of choice?
It was both heroin and crack.
Are you sober now?
Yes.
What did it take for you to become sober?
Going to jail.
I asked you about your drug of choice back then. What was the defendant's?
Heroin.
What did the defendant do for work back then?
He was home with the kids.
And he'd leave at night, you said?
Yeah, he would leave after I'd be home for a couple hours and go for rides.
Okay. Do you know, back then, how did you get your drugs?
I had money from my job, and that's what I remember up until we got kicked out, evicted from the house.
And you mentioned Harmony, Declan, and Seamus. How did you support them?
We had food stamps, and my income, which was barely anything at the time.
Adam was later found guilty in a weapons possession case, receiving a sentence of several decades. However, even before the verdict was announced, he denied any involvement in his daughter's death.
So I understand that I was found guilty by a jury, and I'm not here to dispute that at all. The only consideration that I ask of you this morning is for you not to consider anything as it relates to the case regarding my daughter Harmony. I did not kill my daughter Harmony, and I look forward to my upcoming trial to refute those offensive claims. Probably won't believe me when I tell you that I didn't wake up one morning and choose to become an addict. I don't want to be an addict. And I will spend my time in prison utilizing it to the best of my ability to change things about myself. I could have had a meaningful life, and I blew that opportunity through drugs. But I loved my daughter unconditionally, and I did not kill her. So please don't consider anything that relates to those charges. Only consider the facts to this case.
Adam's statements at sentencing contrast sharply with the state's allegations. His insistence on separating his weapons conviction from Harmony's disappearance underscores a recurring theme in the case: selective acknowledgement without accountability for the missing child. Bodycam footage from December 31st, 2021 shows officers locating Adam asleep in a car on the same day police publicly announced Harmony is missing.
Been pulled asleep. We make contact right now. Show me your hands.
You guys want to code at all, or you guys good?
Keep your hands where I can see them. Step on out. Hey, keep your hands where I can see them.
What's going on?
What's your name, my man?
What? Adam.
Adam? You have anything on you?
No.
All right, come right over here.
What's wrong?
I'm just gonna pat you down, make sure you don't have any weapons. Put your hands on top of your head, okay? On top of your head.
What's going on, though? What's the problem right now?
All right. Who's this in the car with you?
My girlfriend.
How long have you been back in New Hampshire?
I don't know, for like a day or two.
A day or two. Where were you before you were here?
With her and me. Carmel, maybe?
Carmel, Maine? Where's that?
It's up north.
It's up north.
Yeah.
You sure you don't have anything on you?
Yeah, I don't have nothing on me.
Crazy. I haven't seen you in a long, long time.
Okay, what's going on?
You got a couple detectives that are coming down to talk to you.
Okay. For what?
What's that?
For what?
Just like people are wondering where Harmony is.
Yeah, we want to talk to him.
If that's something that you can down.
Can I just get a cigarette, please?
Adam repeatedly refuses to talk, stating he does not want the conversation. This moment becomes symbolic in the investigation. While the community searched for a missing child, the person with legal custody refused to engage with questions about her whereabouts. Investigators attempt to reassure Adam, explaining their role is to check on children. Adam maintains silence, expressing frustration over unrelated charges instead. The focus remains striking. The conversation repeatedly returns to Adam's grievances, not Harmony's welfare. Later, during questioning by the police, Adam seemed to continue avoiding questions related to Harmony. However, at some points, he did proactively speak up.
We got a lot of worried people and scared people right now in the community. I know you're worried about the well-being of your daughter, and I kind of want to get ahead of this because I don't want you to be painted as a monster.
Well, that's what you guys are already doing.
I am?
No. Oh, yeah.
Can you explain that to me?
That's what you guys are already trying to do, man.
Explain to me how I'm trying to make you, or whoever is trying to make you out to be a monster. Who's telling you that stuff? Is there somebody that I work with that told you that? Somebody you're close with, that they told you that?
No.
All right. Well, you understand this whole thing is getting a little out of hand, would you agree?
Of course. But
So that's why,
look, it's just the way you guys are going about it.
and again,
Yeah,
I don't
not you specifically, but
Right.
yeah, nobody comes out there like that for a second-degree assault charge. Nobody. Been arrested for worse charges. They don't come out and throw fucking flashbangs at my girlfriend's car and ram us into the fucking guardrail. They don't do that for a second-degree assault charge.
again, you understand what the charges are, right?
Second-degree assault, right?
Yep.
Okay.
There's also an endangering the welfare charge
Okay.
and interference with custody. Okay,
So how did I interfere with custody?
So that paperwork that we served you the other day, you remember that?
Okay.
When they were in the alleyway, remember outside of Long Lake Ave?
Yeah.
There's paperwork that you have to comply with. You understand that, right? We had that conversation, did we not? Right? So that's what that's all about.
So second-degree assault charge, what is this referring to?
Well, that's what we want to talk to you about.
Well, explain to me what, if I'm being charged with it, what the hell am I being charged with it for?
Well, your daughter had some injuries
What?
that you know about when you lived on Guilford Street.
No, I do not. What are you referring to?
Well, you were there, I wasn't, right?
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to her having some good marks.
What are you referring to?
Marks that were left on her by you.
Absolutely not. I have nothing else to say. But you're sitting there telling me that right off the rip that there was something wrong with my daughter because of me. No, that's bullshit.
Okay. So if your daughter had marks on her at some point when you lived over there,
As
how
far
would you explain those?
How was she get those marks?
well, I would love to know when that marks were there because DCYF came to my house multiple times.
Okay. And we know that they came there.
Right. And closed the case.
Okay. Do we know that DCYF is the flagship agency in the country?
No, but if there was significant marks like you're referring to, I believe they would have flagged something at that point, and they would have said something. They wouldn't have came there and seen that the kids were well taken care of. All the kids loved being at the house with me.
Adam challenges allegations of past injuries, argues DCF visits found nothing, and insists the children were well cared for. Investigators press Adam to confirm Harmony is alive. He refuses, dismissing reports as hearsay and stating he has nothing else to say.
I can't sleep until I know that she's okay. And I know that you know where she is or what happened to her, but I can't do it without your help. And if you don't want to look like this f***ing animal, because I don't think you are. Not that I don't think you are, I know you aren't. But I can only do so much for you, man. I'm begging you to help me. Because as much as you're hurting inside, I'm also hurting inside, and I don't know how you can sleep at night because I'm sure it's eating it out of you. Am I wrong?
No, but see, me and Pots, I know I'm not seeing my wife, I'm not seeing my kids, you guys are just playing games like this. Is just
Dude, but I'm not trying.
I'm not trying to play games.
Can you make me a promise? Like, man to man? Can you tell me that she's alive?
You're gonna play the same word games that you played with me the other day.
It's not word games.
I got nothing.
Because we care, man. We want to know.
This isn't gonna go anywhere. Like, this isn't gonna stop. So
No,
you
I
know.
know it's not.
So either get on the bus now or get run over.
I got nothing else to say.
Adam's taken into custody, Kayla's perjury plea, and the transition of the case into a homicide investigation. After deliberation, the jury returned a verdict finding Adam Montgomery guilty of second-degree murder in connection with Harmony Montgomery's death, along with related charges tied to falsifying physical evidence. The verdict confirmed that physical remains were not required for conviction. The jury accepted that the totality of evidence, custody, conduct, concealment, and deception met the legal threshold for guilt. At sentencing, the court imposed a lengthy prison term consistent with state law for second-degree murder. Adam Montgomery was ordered to serve decades in prison, consecutive to existing sentences from prior convictions. Defense counsel subsequently filed a notice of appeal, challenging evidentiary rulings and asserting trial errors. At the time reflected in the provided materials, Adam Montgomery remains incarcerated while appellate proceedings are pending. Harmony Montgomery's remains have still not been located. The case closes without physical recovery, but with a legal determination of responsibility. The verdict was announced, appeals filed, but one thing remained unchanged. Harmony Montgomery still couldn't return. Only when faced with a sentence spanning decades did Adam Montgomery truly realize that controlling the narrative doesn't mean controlling the truth. If you or a loved one are overwhelmed and exhausted from raising children, don't try to bear it alone. There are family support centers and child protection hotlines. Early intervention can be the only line between life and an irreversible tragedy. We'll meet again in the next story, tomorrow on Liu.